I think people assume that when they feel a certain way, they'll do a certain thing. And that's never the way it works, friends. If I wait until I felt like doing certain things, they would just never, ever, ever get done. Hey, friends, welcome back to the podcast. We're going to chat today about those of you that may be experiencing some fear in your business and how being scared is not an excuse. So, lots of women come into my coaching groups for strategy, of course, but when it comes to questions that I receive outside of strategy, the number one question I get is always centered around fear. And perhaps it's because I wrote a book called Fears Aren't the Boss of You. Yes, you can still get it on Amazon, came out in 2020. And so it is a book about how to still do things even when you're scared. Okay. And so I think that could be one of the reasons why a lot of women ask me about fear. I also just think that entrepreneurship, it's not for everyone. And it just comes with its own set of like concerns, fears, issues, stresses that people outside of that just don't really maybe understand or have the capacity to deal with. And that's fine because we need people that are entrepreneurs and we need people that are not. And so the question again that I get is just like, how do I make myself do something that I'm scared to do? How do I move past fear when that's what, basically is preventing me from taking the next step in my business, whether that's launching something, hiring a coach, whether that is doing a collaboration. Maybe there's fear around pivoting. I just thought of something like total random ADHD moment, but I'm sitting here looking at myself as I'm recording this thinking, why didn't I put on my hair extensions? And by hair extensions, I mean, I have a girlfriend who has this like, it's a halo hair extension. And I told her I wanted to like try it. And she brought it over last night and it makes my hair, if you're watching me on YouTube right now, like come like all the way down my chest. It's so stinking cute. I should have put that on literally just for this video. It makes me want to hit pause and go get it real quick. Okay, I'll probably put something on Instagram stories about it later. So watch my Instagram stories. I'll put some pictures there of my hair. Okay, anyway. Um, so here's like the main thing that I want to make sure that everyone understands is that fear is not going to go away. What you have to figure out as a woman in business, as a woman who wants to grow, as a woman who wants to expand, as a woman who wants to scale, is how do you force yourself to do the things that you want to do or need to do when you're scared? Because most people, when they're scared, I mean, think about like the last time you were physically scared. You heard a noise in the house. Most people like freeze, right? And then we do have some people, like my husband, who's going to move towards the noise. Not me, not me. I'm going to stay back with the dogs, and figure out the hiding spot. Like most of the time when people are scared, there is a freezing that happens. There is a pause while your brain is trying to figure out how do we get me out of this situation, that could be life or death. Now, you and I both know that when it comes to things in business, whether it's making the next hire, whether it is investing, buying a piece of equipment, investing, who knows, whatever you're scared about currently today. Most of us know that those things are not going to kill us. But I hope you understand that the way God designed our brains is to keep us safe and alive. Like by design, your brain is going to try to convince you that the thing that you're scared of could be the thing that finally takes you out and down. Like this is how we walk to the edge of a cliff and feel that thing that then has us take a step back. That's like good, healthy fear. You know, that's that fear when you crest a hill and you're speeding, Mr. Allwood. Right, talking about me, and your tummy kind of drops out. Like that's the thing that takes your foot off the gas, right? But like when it comes to business, how do you feel that thing, but also keep going? I'm telling you, this is the number one question I get. So let's talk about a couple things here, okay? Courage does not mean there is no fear. This is just being able to force yourself to do something in spite of it. In spite of it. Courage does not mean like anybody you see making decisions in their business. Like I was talking to a lady the other day about investing in Airbnbs. And she was saying, if she was young, she would still do it. Because at this age, she just has way more to lose. And I'm like, first of all, I don't understand that thinking at all. Jason and I are looking at purchasing what would be our fourth Airbnb before the end of this year at Lake of the Ozarks. So I just don't understand the like, I'm too old to make big moves. No, you're not. But every day you're getting closer to dying. I mean, I know that that sounds morbid, but all of us come with an expiration date, you know? I mean, all of us, as soon as you are able to like have a reasonable thought and able to process things, with not a childish mind, like we all know we're going to die, right? We're not here forever. And so it's like there there has to be at some point a time when you force yourself to do things, just basically tapping into courage because the fear is still going to be there. And so courage is just means that you're acting in spite of the fear. And every single one of my coaching clients who is inside of She's Equipped, which if you're not a coaching client, go to she'sequipped.com, become a coaching client. You've all heard me say, fear does not release you from your calling. Just because you feel a certain way about a certain thing in your business, that doesn't mean that God's going, okay, you know what? I get it, Jen. You're right. You feel scared. You probably shouldn't do XYZ. Probably shouldn't shift your entire business in the last couple of months. You probably shouldn't take down every course that you're offering and put everything inside of She's Equipped. Like, just because I'm scared, it isn't a valid reason to stay stuck, to not do what God's asking you to do, to do whatever. I think people assume that when they feel a certain way, they'll do a certain thing. And that's never the way it works, friends. If I wait until I felt like doing certain things, they would just never, ever, ever get done. Our feelings are fickle. You can't depend on them. And so business always is going to contain uncertainty. Okay. You're never going to have a guarantee that that launch, that that offer, that that hire, that that price increase, that that investment, that that whatever, you are never going to have a guarantee unless you hear from heaven, hear from God himself, that that thing is going to be a success. Like everything comes with that. But think of like every other big decision you've ever made in your life also, like I have been married now. My husband and I are celebrating 28 blessed years this weekend. We like to joke like only 26 of them happy. He'd probably say 26. I'd probably say 24. No, I'm kidding. Okay, maybe not, but no, I'm kidding. They're mostly happy as all marriages go. And so what the heck was my point? Oh, so there was no certainty when marrying this man that we would get to 28 years. We all make decisions that are big ones that have no guarantee, right? So if you're waiting in your business to feel a certain way or to have a guarantee before you act, you're going to stay stuck forever. Like, I just want to remind you that being obedient is totally up to you. The outcome is totally up to God. Let me say that again. Being obedient, totally up to you. The outcome, totally up to God. And so, in Joshua, God told Joshua to be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Lord your God will be with you. God didn't remove like risk or fear, but he did promise his presence. And so I hope that you know that being scared in your business about launching the thing, raising your rates, showing up online, doing your first reel, investing in help, investing in, a new piece of whatever, like none of those things are going to come with a guarantee. And being scared, feeling fear, feeling a certain way is not an excuse not to do them. Because every breakthrough you're going to have, good or bad, is going to be on the other side of an uncomfortable step. It just is. And so courage matters so much more than certainty because there are very few things we can be certain of on this side of heaven. Courage positions you, by the way, also for God to move in a way that you never could have seen, that you never could have scripted, that you never could have manufactured. And so my encouragement to you today as a business owner, from one business owner to the next, from one business owner who just took some major risks, did some major pivoting, is getting ready to make more moves in the next couple of months, is to stop waiting until you feel ready. Angie Lee online always says, ready is a lie. Nobody is ever ready. You're never going to feel fully ready. I was talking to somebody about having a baby, a while back, and she was like talking about waiting until they're ready. And I was like, ready is just such an illusion. Who's ever ready for anything? By the way, when you think you're ready, then you have your first baby and realize you didn't know anything about anything. And also, by the way, you'll feel that way at number two, number three, number four, also. And so remember that your family, your kids, the people around you, your team, your audience, they need you to model courage for them because so many people are stuck in their fear. And so fear does not release you from your calling, my friends. Courage is what you should be asking for, never confidence, by the way. I can't stand it when people talk about confidence because your confidence should be in God. You can be confident in some of your talents and abilities, yes, but courage is always what's going to move the needle. It's not confidence. And so I don't think God is ever asking us for perfection, but he is asking us for obedience and he is asking us to be courageous. And so if there is something in your business right now that you are needing to do, I hope that this was really helpful for you today. If you're like, well, this maybe wasn't for me, Jen, because there's nothing right now that I'm feeling terrified of in my business, but maybe you have a girlfriend who is, someone who's trying to make some decisions in her business or she's stuck because of fear. Would you just forward this episode to him or her? Hopefully, it will be exactly what they need. God's timing on everything. Thank you so much for being here for this episode. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye. I forgot to change my audio. Remember, we were talking about how my audio sounds weird, and I forgot to do it before this episode. It probably is going to sound weird again.